Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to another 6 of the best. Today we feature Mr. Hellraiser himself, Oliver Reed, and I'm going to pick 6 of my favourite Oliver Reed films or favourite performances by Oliver Reed. Obviously there's so many. Started as a young man with lots of small parts for Hammer, worked with Michael Winner 6 times bizarrely. And also worked with Ken Russell, but unfortunately he's probably more famous for being a party animal than actually being a really good actor, which he was. He has just a tremendous camera presence, despite the scar on his face from a bar fight in 1963 that he thought was going to end his career. Such a physical actor, obviously quite an imposing figure, apparently lovely and shy when he was sober, not so much when he wasn't sober. And again, growing up in the early 80s, even late 80s, you know, my memory of Oliver Reed is pretty much being on talk shows or chat shows, being somewhat inebriated and people laughing at him and him making a fool of himself, which is actually quite difficult to watch and quite sad. And again, it overshadows what a great actor he obviously was. Obviously that whole generation, I think he's probably a little bit younger than the Peter Finch and Albert Finney and Peter O'Toole, and you know, where alcohol was just an accepted thing and getting pie-eyed was a common occurrence. But obviously it affects people differently. But I think we should remember Oliver Reed for being the great actor that he was, rather than another victim of the bottle. So I'm going to start with The Curse of the Werewolf. Again, this is, I don't know whether it's his first quote-unquote starring role. Obviously, as I said, quite a lot of small performances for Hammer. But again, even if he was in these small roles, your eyes would be drawn to him because he was such an electric presence. And he does give the werewolf humanity. You know, it's all in his eyes, as most great actors have that power. A lot of what they express is in their eyes. So in 1962, it's Hammer again, but this is The Damned. This is one of those films that starts off one way and takes a left turn. This is directed by Joseph Losey. And again, a strange film, but Oliver Reed starts off as being the leader of this biker gang, kind of petty criminal, but then he becomes quote-unquote hero. Again, an odd film, but it's really so good. And again, Reed just has that kind of swagger about him. You know, that's the Indicator release, and he's in quite a lot of Indicator releases. You know, Triple Echo, The System, things like that. Where again he gives more nuance than you think. And you know, a lot of his characters are kind of louts or kind of brutes, if you will, but he does give some subtlety as they perhaps change throughout the length of the film. So again, The Damned, his character, like the film, is certainly a little bit schizophrenic. And then we go to 1969 and the Assassination Bureau Limited, where he plays the head of an assassination bureau, which is involved in many assassinations, and it gets involved with the fictional start of World War One. And again, he's charming in this and suave. You can see why he was a ladies' man as well. Just so much fun. Diana Rigg's fantastic in it. Telly Savalas. It's perhaps not as great as it should be, but it's still a lot of fun. And then one of the films that is probably the most requested for a Blu-ray release or a 4K release, that's obviously Ken Russell's The Devils. I have no idea why it hasn't had a Blu-ray release. It's not as if it's controversial or anything. And again, Oliver Reed is just magnetic in this. Everybody is. It's quite the experience. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And should get an upgrade of some kind. I mean, BFI should just bite the bullet and release it in Blu-ray or 4K, shouldn't they? And then I'm going to pick a Richard Lester film, but it's not the Musketeers films that are coming out in 4K. It's Royal Flash, which is really underrated. I mean, I had never seen it up till a few years ago. Is it perfect? Perhaps not. But it's so much fun as a satire of gentlemanly pursuits in war. Reed plays Otto von Bismarck. Malcolm McDowell is the titular hero. Alan Bates is in it. As with Lester, it's just a wonderful cast. And Reed is fantastic in it as well, as you'd expect. And it's really a lot of fun that really needs to be more widely seen. Another Lester film that should be seen more often. And then we'll finish up in 1979 with Cronenberg's The Brood. Yes, Oliver Reed was even in a Cronenberg film. When you actually think about the kinds of actors that Cronenberg's had, considering his early career, where perhaps the acting is a little bit wobbly at times, he certainly made up for it over the rest of his career. Again, Reed is fantastic as this forward-thinking analyst. Obviously the film is just a metaphor for Cronenberg's divorce, and he is the head of Psychoplasmics, and again he gives a really intense, wonderful performance. So that's my 6 for Oliver Reed. I recently watched Sergio Solima's Revolver, and he's absolutely fantastic in that as well. I'll leave a link to Nazrin Prod's channel because he did a video on Revolver. So please let me know 6 of your favourite Oliver Reed performances or films, because this series is all about you. So thanks so much for watching this Oliver Reed edition of 6 of the Best, and hopefully you'll join me again in the future for more videos. This is Solitary Ronan from Solitary Ronan Films, saying farewell.